It's the final week of the regular season, and not only is the top seed of the ACC tournament up for grabs, but so is the #1 spot in the nation. #1 Notre Dame has been the definition of consistent. 9 wins and a defense that has stopped nearly everyone. The only hiccup for the Fighting Irish was a defeat to Virginia just a couple weeks ago, the same team that was beat comfortably by Syracuse just 2 weeks ago. The Orange are back in the top 5 and in their favorite position on the hunt. Can Joey Spallina and company topple their second #1 team of the season, or will Josh Yargo and the Irish remain the team to beat? It's the final Cuse countdown of the school year. Let's get to it, and it starts right now. Hey everyone, welcome to the final CC of the semester for what is arguably the biggest game of the year for Syracuse men's lacrosse. Nicholas Waley, Ben Chadwick, and Adam Hipsky with you. Fellas, this is certainly a fascinating one, the #1 team against #5. But let's go focus on Syracuse first, because they just came off a fairly comfortable win over Colgate last time out. You know, it was a really strange game. 14-7 was the final. Ben, there was history made on the night, but it was a really strange game.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to that later as well. But Adam, this was a game where if Syracuse didn't start strong and end strong, we could be having a very different conversation about this win over Colgate right now. Now, the Orange did lead the Raiders 5-2 in that very first quarter, which is why they were so successful in the end. Obviously, the final score looking a lot much better than it could have. In those middle quarters, the two teams were tied 5-5 apiece. And plus, in the final 10 minutes of this game, Syracuse only led by 3 goals over a Colgate team that was under 500 on the season. This could have been a lot worse than it actually was, Adam.
And I thought that this was a day inside the Dome where you're celebrating the seniors, the final regular season for this class of 2022. That was the top recruiting class coming out of high school, and they've continued to accelerate within their Syracuse careers, starting missing the tournament, then making the tournament as sophomores, getting to championship weekend as juniors. Every time you hear Pat March and Gary Gates speak, it's talking about what this recruiting class has meant to Syracuse, and I thought it was an excellent celebration with Joey Spallina, Michael Leo, and Finn Thomson having excellent games that really encapsulated their SU time.
We certainly saw some big moments and big plays during this one. I mean, there was one that, of course, is the headliner for Joey Spallina, but Finn Thomson had a really good game in this one as well. First, Adam, what was your moment of the game against Colgate?
We kind of talked about it earlier, Nick. A back-and-forth game. Colgate wanted to muck it up against Syracuse. That was how the Raiders thought that they could pull off an upset down the road, and they got there for the most part.
Yep.
Late in the fourth quarter, Finn Thomson, it's a close game, but a senior on senior day decided to take matters into his own hands. First, I want to give a little bit of props to his fellow classmate Luke Roa, threading the needle right there and finding Finn Thomson on the right side of the crease. But what a finish from Finn Thomson. That sparked 4 consecutive goals for the Orange, and Syracuse started to pull away late in a game where they really should have dominated from start to finish. But when it mattered, the fourth quarter, Ben, that was when Finn Thomson really started to show his prowess.
The fourth quarter is when it mattered, but also in the first quarter, like we mentioned before, Syracuse was looking really solid, but the one thing on everyone's minds watching that game was, when is Joey Spallina going to break the all-time points record? He did at the end of that first quarter. I mean, the antics that went on for Joey Spallina to get this record and surpass Mikey Powell as well in the #1 spot. Behind the back pass over to his roommate Michael Leo, who gets the behind the back goal, the flashiest way Joey Spallina possibly could have gotten to 308 career points. It was a massive point, maybe one of the biggest points of his entire career, and it was to set a new record for the Orange.
Joey Spallina right there, you see it, 313. Not only passing Mike Powell, but doing it in style against Michael Leo, and then continuing to ascend his spot at that #1 position. 313, a part of a 7-point performance against Colgate. Powell, and Spallina, number 22. And Joey Spallina adds to that double deuce legacy.
And the question really is, I mean, who's going to wear the number 22 next season? Yeah. I mean, will certainly be an interesting topic of conversation come 2027. But for this game in particular, the face-off battle between John Mullen and Tyler Spano is going to be a fascinating one. This is in the draw circle has been in that face-off battle has been really fascinating over the years between Syracuse and Notre Dame. How do you think this one will play out, and how important is it?
It's very important. I mean, as in every game, the face-off battle is always what it really does come down to in the end. Tyler Spano really is that guy, right? I mean, he's one of the best face-off men in the entire ACC. He's just near 60% on the season so far. He has been fantastic for the Fighting Irish. And you look at John Mullen as well for Syracuse. He's had his ups and downs, right? I mean, he came into the season as a second-team All-American preseason, according to Inside Lacrosse. And he's kind of been hovering just above 50%, which is around the top 50 in the entire country. So this is a massive, massive battle. And not to mention, how about Aiden Diaz-Matos over at Notre Dame as well, a 54% face-off man. Those two have been fantastic for the Fighting Irish. It's going to be a tall task for John Mullen.
Well, John Mullen, I think, is the X factor for the Syracuse team when you look at this entire roster. And when you look at his time as the main face-off specialist for SU, he's probably sporting his worst 3-game stretch. The only one that's comparable is earlier this year when they played Harvard, Princeton, and Penn, a 1-goal overtime win against Penn, and losses on the road to Harvard and Princeton. This was a guy that you mentioned it earlier, Ben, highly touted coming out of high school, All-American honors across the board. 11 of 20 against Colgate, just over 50%. He's in a slump right now, and it's going to be an interesting battle. If SU wins that possession battle, I like their chances in South Bend.
And certainly will be fascinating to see some of the players that maybe we don't talk about as much, the underrated player. I think particularly Brock Behrman for Notre Dame. He's someone that's really taken a big stride in year 3 of his college lacrosse career. I mean, this is a guy that, did play every game last season, but only had 7 points in total. He is someone that really has made a step up, and now is the second most points on the team. How important could he be for this team, Ben?
Yeah, another big recruit as well, similar to John Mullen, like you mentioned, and it's taken him a little while to actually get to this point, but he's third most. He's got the third most points for the Fighting Irish so far this year. He's not really excelling at either level of the game. He's not a fantastic finisher, not a fantastic playmaker, but he's really, really darn good at both. He started every single game so far this year for Notre Dame. He's just got just over 10 goals and 10 assists on the year as well. He's a really, really solid player. Does definitely fly under the radar because of only having around 30 points or less than 30 points on the season, but still a very solid guy to watch out for in this one.
Ben, this might be nitpicky, but in Notre Dame's 2 worst outings, a loss to Virginia and just a 1-goal win to Duke, he was goalless in both. He did not score. And you mentioned his ascension in South Bend, continuing to get better and better. Yes, he played all of last season, but just 4 goals as a sophomore, 1 in his first year at Notre Dame, and now 12 as a junior. He's just continued to get better and better, and you mentioned it right there. Things are going north, not just up to South Bend, but his play has gotten better and better, and as he's gotten better, Notre Dame has gotten better.
You mentioned that he struggled against really good teams, but he had a career-high 6 points against Maryland as well, so he can show up in those big moments.
Well, I'm just saying how much of an X factor he is for Notre Dame, that when he is silent, Notre Dame struggles, but when he's on his game, like you just mentioned, Notre Dame can be really good and the Fighting Irish can go to another level.
Well, an X factor that certainly has played his role this season, he's having a career year, is Finn Thomson. I mean, of course we talk about Joey Spallina being that #1 recruit from 2022, but Finn Thomson has certainly become that go-to guy, especially this season. I mean, part of that 3-headed monster up front. I mean, how important has Thomson been for the Orange?
It's truly a shame that he's even in this underrated conversation that we're talking about right now. I can't believe we're even talking about Finn Thomson as being underrated. He leads Syracuse with 30 goals on the season so far, and he was nowhere to be found on Inside Lacrosse's midseason All-American list, which I thought was a shame. I mean, you had guys like Michael Leo on there who are much lower on the goal total and assist total for Syracuse. He was mentioned as an honorable mention on that list, but no Finn Thomson to be found. He is so darn good, though. I mean, he's not big on the playmaking assist-wise of the game, but man, oh man, is he a sharpshooter for the Orange, and does he play that role incredibly well, Adam?
And Joey Spallina is the distributor. We know that. But Finn Thomson is the perfect guy to play in the attacking third with him. He's versatile, and he's an accurate shooter next to number 22. Shoots it at nearly a 40% clip. When you've got a guy that's that accurate, an absolute sniper that can play below goal line, play above the goal line, it was a slow start for him. There's no doubt about that. Just 4 goals in his first 3 games. But since 11 straight games with a goal in 70% of matchups this season, Finn Thomson has had multiple goals.
He had an 8-game stretch as well where he had 20 combined goals. So he can get hot. When he is, Syracuse also has a lot of success.
Absolutely.
I mean, Finn Thomson was a big reason why Syracuse was ranked #1, especially early on in the year, and that big win over Maryland in week 2. But guys, we've had 5 different teams, including Notre Dame, that have been ranked #1 this season. I mean, it's really become a bit of a #1 ranked roulette. I mean, what does it mean about just how good college lacrosse has been this season?
Yep, absolutely. And when you look at college lacrosse, the 3 biggest conferences, the Big Ten, the ACC, and the Ivy League. Let me throw some numbers at you right now, Ben. The Big Ten, 6-team conference, a 4-way tie for first. And the team that finished 6th, the Rutgers, beat the team that finished 1st in Johns Hopkins. You go to the ACC. The top 4 teams are all separated by a half game. The Ivy League, Princeton beat Harvard, the top 2 teams in the conference. Princeton doesn't even control its own destiny to win an Ivy League championship. Every single game matters for every single team. But when you go into the postseason, even more so than ever, anybody can lose on any given day. It doesn't matter if you're Richmond playing at home, if you're Syracuse playing in front of 10,000 plus. Everyone's on upset watch any given day.
Yeah, and Adam, there's been 5 different #1 teams this year. I mean, Maryland had that top spot for the first couple of weeks, along with the preseason as well. And then you had Richmond and Notre Dame and North Carolina trading it back and forth. Syracuse had it for that one lone week early on in the season as well. You can just look at all these teams on here. No one knows if any of these teams are going to be the national champion in a few weeks from now, right? And you also have teams like Cornell and Princeton, which if you ask many experts and many analysts out there, they would say, no, that's the best team in the country. I don't care that they've never been ranked first in the country before so far this season. I truly do think that they're going to win the Natty.
Ben, I'm not great at darts, but if I were to throw a dartboard here, that would probably be the best guess that I have at picking a national champion.
Well, a good thing it's a roulette board and not a dartboard. But don't go anywhere, folks. We've got a whole lot more coming after this with Cole Purvis, our men's lacrosse reporter, joining the show just in a little bit.
Welcome back inside our CitrusTV studios. Ben and Adam have gone for a little break, probably going to that roulette wheel. Joined now by Cole Purvis, our Syracuse men's lacrosse beat reporter. Cole, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
So we talked a little bit earlier about just our reaction to that Colgate game last week. I mean, 14-7 was the final score, but Syracuse only led by 3 at halftime. So what did we really learn from that game?
It showed me that Syracuse can have success against different styles of play. Colgate was very aggressive in its ride, not allowing SU to clear the ball out of its defensive end. And in that first half, the Orange really struggled. 10 turnovers, most of those caused by the ride. However, in the second half, SU went into the locker room, adjusted a little bit, cut that number in half to just 5 giveaways in the second frame. So it shows me that SU can get punched in the mouth, but still come out and win this game comfortably. 14-7, the final, as you mentioned. And, you know, Notre Dame is more of a defensive-oriented team. Syracuse has won against those defensive-minded teams this season. They've won the shootout games as well against good offensive teams. So they can win in really a lot of ways, and that's what that Colgate game proved to me.
And looking ahead to this game on Saturday for Notre Dame, you know, this is a matchup that's now the 24th ever meeting between the Orange and the Fighting Irish. You know, we've had some big names in the past, the Spallinas, the Kavanaughs of the world. Yep. I mean, what's a matchup that you're looking forward to this year?
The matchup that I'm looking forward to is Notre Dame goalie Thomas Ricciardelli versus the Syracuse outside shooters. This is a strength-on-strength matchup, Nick. When you talk about Syracuse having Luke Roa, who's maybe the best long-range shooter shooter in the entire nation. And then you talk about Finn Thomson and Michael Leo, and then having Joey Spallina to set all of those guys up. It's a really dangerous offensive formula for Syracuse. But then Richie Urdelli is arguably the best goalie in the entire nation. He's third in saves and second in save percentage. He's anchored a really, really good Fighting Irish defense this season, and he is going to need a very strong game to beat Syracuse. Something's got to give. Either Richie Urdelli is going to have an uncharacteristic off day, or Syracuse's shooters are going to get shut down. Can't wait to see what it is. That could be the deciding matchup on Saturday.
And I think another factor in this game in particular is on the other side, in the other cage, in Jimmy McCool. I mean, this is a guy that, we saw got pulled very recently in that game against UNC in the third quarter. I mean, what should we expect from Jimmy McCool in this one? Yeah,
it's been inconsistent, right? And Jimmy McCool, you look at his splits from in the dome to away in these outdoor environments, it's a stark contrast. A 62% save percentage at home, only 51 on the road. So we'll see what version of Jimmy McCool that we get. But I'll tell you what, they really, really need him to step up, because SU's going to have to be firing on all cylinders, playing the #1 team in the country. Every position group is going to have to be strong, and that includes McCool. Every couple games, it seems like he has an off day, so you hope if you're a Syracuse fan that isn't the case now. And his kryptonite has really been those low shots. If Notre Dame is able to fire a couple Warren burners, bounce the ball past him, it could be a long day for McCool. He played well in the 2 games against Notre Dame last year in the regular season and in the ACC tournament, but this is not the same Fighting Irish squad, not as highly ranked. Now they come in at the top of the nation, and Jimmy McCool is going to be a huge factor going into Saturday.
Yeah, Notre Dame ranked #1 in the country. The winner of this game will be the #1 seed in the ACC tournament. Yeah. Obviously, there's only 4 teams in that, so you can bear that with take that with a grain of salt. But for Syracuse, as the #5 team in the country, is this a must-win?
Absolutely not. You look at last year's regular season, the Orange finished things off with a stinker. 3 straight losses going into the playoffs, but then they turned it around and made it all the way to the Final Four. So I'm not panicking if Syracuse suffers a setback in South Bend this weekend. So much parity this season in college lacrosse. We've talked about it a lot. If SU loses, I still feel confident that they could go out on a neutral site in an ACC tournament or eventually in an NCAA tournament and get the job done. That's just the type of season that it's been in college lacrosse. It's a big game, but this team really has its sights set on greater things down the road in the ACC tournament, and then eventually hoping to get to the University of Virginia and play on Memorial Day weekend for the Final Four. So even if they lose, I'm not panicking. It's not a must-win, even though it still is a big game.
It's certainly a difficult task. Notre Dame hasn't lost at home since March of last year. Cole Purvis, our Syracuse men's lacrosse beat reporter, thank you so much, my friend. When we come back, we'll take a look at our marquee matchups for this week. There's plenty to choose from. 2 of the best teams in the country going head-to-head. We'll be right back.
Dad?
Just 1 minute, okay?
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Welcome back to Cuse Countdown from our CitrusTV studios. Nicholas Waley here. I'm still looking for Ben and Adam. Not sure where they went because it's time for our marquee matchups, and there's certainly plenty to choose from.
Get right into it. We're turning the page into postseason lacrosse, final regular season game on tap between Syracuse and Notre Dame. And all anyone talks about is your team can go as far as your goalie takes you. And in this matchup, it's no exception. Jimmy McCool and Thomas Ricciardelli. We'll start with Jimmy McCool, the Syracuse netminder. This was when he started heating up a season ago, the ACC tournament MVP. He struggled a couple of weeks ago in Chapel Hill, but since then, he's heated up. Single-digit goals allowed in consecutive games. He's starting to get his feel in between the pipes, and Syracuse is reinvigorated when he's on. We go to the other side. Into South Bend, Ricciardelli, the Notre Dame goalie. And this is a guy that is playing as good of lacrosse now as he has ever played, coming off a 17-save performance against Duke and winning his second ACC Defensive Player of the Week. So this is a guy that has been outstanding all season long, stealing goals left and right. Look at this. From below goal line, above goal line, lunging to his left, making the save there. So this guy's been phenomenal all season long. Save percentage nearly 60%. So I've got my eyes on this goalie matchup because not only can they make saves on the defensive side, but they spark offense just as easily. All right, I'm going to send it over to my guy Ben Chadwick with another marquee matchup.
Yeah, Adam, odds are is that I end up talking about Thomas Ricciardelli as well, because I want to take a look at the Syracuse offense taking on the Notre Dame defense. I mean, this is a grudge match. This is a Titan-on-Titan type of matchup. I'm very, very excited for this one. Let's check out the Syracuse offense first here. As you can see, averaging over 13 goals a game on the season, 11th best mark in the nation. Now, on paper, when you look at this Syracuse roster and the Syracuse attack specifically, one of the best in the entire nation. I mean, you have two players in the first or second team of the midseason All-American list. I keep bringing that up, but it's so relevant, right? It's so relevant, especially at this point of the season. You have Joey Spallina along with Michael Leo. Those are two guys on the first or second team. Luke Roa, also a midi who is on the honorable mention list for that as well. But they're going to be taking on the Notre Dame defense, who has been fantastic all year long. We got a couple of clips that I want to show you from them as well. This very first one against Maryland, right? Simple. Take the ball away, sprint down on the other side of the field, and you make things happen. They go all the way end to end and get the goal on the other side here against Maryland, who again started off the season as one of the best teams in the entire country. And over here, how about the attack? Notre Dame is on offense here. I understand they lose the ball. Michigan takes over. Michigan's moving the other way. And real quick, swarming the defender. Even the attackers are all over these teams with the cause turnovers, playing aggressive defense over and over. And how about Sean Light last season? This is the first team All-American defenseman right here. Picks off the pass, goes end to end, gets the quick assist on the other way as well. Sean Light has been fantastic. The whole defense has been unbelievable. Light is a first-team All-American. This is going to be a very, very fun matchup to watch, and I cannot wait to see what happens on Saturday.
Well, Ben, this certainly is, like you mentioned, a battle of the Titans. This is the 24th meeting between Syracuse and Notre Dame, and there was that stretch a few years ago where Notre Dame won 6 straight, and then SU bounced back last year with 2 straight wins. But, you know, I think these two, every time we get to this point of the year, we get towards May, Syracuse and Notre Dame seem to face off, and it seems like every single time it is a huge game, a huge moment. And like I mentioned before, we've had so many huge names over the years, the Kavanaughs, the Spallinas, even back to a few years ago. For example, the likes of Michael Leo and his big moments last year. You know, these are two of the best programs in college lacrosse. Notre Dame, yes, they've had the upper hand in recent years, but last year I feel was a big turning point in terms of the history of this rivalry. Syracuse, of course, not just winning in the regular season, but then also winning in the postseason in the NCAA tournament. That was a huge result when it came to Gary Gates' tenure, because he needed to get over the hump and beat this Fighting Irish team. I mean, just look at, in terms of the history, you know, it's so close, 11 to 12 goals. In terms 13.3 to 13.3 turnovers per game. That's how close these two teams are matched up. Like I saw as well, Syracuse does lead this series all time, 12 to 11. This game number 24 might be the ultimate one. And we will see whoever wins will be the #1 seed in the ACC tournament, and certainly will have a huge factor in the NCAA tournament. We're wrapping up shop, but we've got to preview that ACC tournament when we come back after the break, and we'll look ahead to the final week of the regular season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Getting close to game time, Syracuse and Notre Dame. We're back on Cuse Countdown inside our CitrusTV studios. Nicholas Waley, Ben Chadwick, and Adam Hipsky. We've taken you through it all, but we got to look ahead to the ACC tournament, which is happening just so soon. Of course, there are only 5 teams in the ACC for men's lacrosse, which means it's only a 4-team tournament. But even so, we already know who that top 4 will be because Duke haven't fared too well in ACC play.
Yeah, we know exactly who the top 4 is going to be, but most of the top 4 can fluctuate all over the place as well. And the top 3 teams can all end up number 1, number 2, number 3. Notre Dame could fall to 3. Syracuse could rise to 1. There's still a lot of things to be decided when this weekend is all said and done with.
It's scenarios galore, Ben, and for all of the numbers nerds out there that love tie-breaking scenarios and all of this is a dream. You have 4 teams that are separated by a half game, and all of these teams have played each other relatively competitively. And you look at Duke, that was 0-3, and this was a team that played Syracuse tough, played Virginia tough, and played Notre Dame tough. So this is an impressive Blue Devils team and a stout ACC conference from top to bottom.
And certainly what makes things very interesting when we look ahead to the weekend, because Syracuse beat UVA, Notre Dame didn't. And so when we look ahead to what's the other games going on in the ACC, it makes things very interesting.
Oh, it absolutely does. And you look at it is bigger than basketball because these are 2 teams that have been really, really solid in men's lacrosse. Of course, Duke is no longer going to make the ACC tournament, but Duke can still be the decider between Syracuse possibly being the number 1 or number 2 team in the ACC tournament. If Syracuse takes down Notre Dame, then Duke will decide whether or not Syracuse is the top seed or the number 2 seed, which this could still be a massive game for the Orange and the Fighting Irish as well.
And Duke absolutely has something to play for in this one. Even though they're not going dancing in Charlotte, they're still fighting for NCAA tournament positioning, trying to get into that field. And I'll say this, with a loss, they're not in. So you have to beat North Carolina to give yourself a chance to hear your name called after the ACC tournament, and this is your last chance to bolster your resume. So this matters for Duke and UNC. When you look at the ACC tournament seeding, it's a free-for-all. I mean, who knows? So I think that this game, while even though one team is not in the ACC tournament and one team is locked in, it doesn't really matter. There's still a lot on the line.
It certainly is. And for Syracuse and Notre Dame, number 5 against number 1. Ben, what is your key for Syracuse getting the job done against the Fighting Irish?
Yeah, I mean, they need a breakout game from John Mullen, right? They absolutely do. We all know how important the face-off battle is, and we all know how Mullen has struggled throughout this entire season, and Spano has been really, really good for Notre Dame, and Notre Dame as a whole has been really, really solid on the face-off, a near 60% team rating on that side. If John Mullen can have that breakout game and prove that he is one of the best Fogos in the entire country, then Syracuse does stand a chance, and they can win this ball game.
Hey, good minds, smart minds think alike right there. Syracuse win the possession battle. If the Orange win possession, that's when they're at their best. I mean, you know, obviously enough. But when Syracuse doesn't win the possession battle and when they get dominated, when John Mullen gets dominated, Syracuse looks ugly. We talked about that 3-game stretch, Harvard, Princeton, and Penn. That's when Syracuse has been at its worst. And that was when John Mullen didn't play to the caliber that he can play. So if Syracuse wins the possession battle, I think they have a good chance. It won't be an easy one, but you look at that game against UNC, when Syracuse lost the possession battle drastically, they lost the game drastically.
Battle on that,
Exactly.
And it will be very interesting to see how John Mullen fares out in this one. Fellas, what are your predictions? Ben, let's go with you first.
Yeah, I mean, Syracuse struggles on the road. They're going to struggle against the best team in the entire country. 11-9, I think Notre Dame wins this one, and Syracuse stays at that 3rd seed spot in the ACC tournament.
I've got Notre Dame 13-9. I thought the possession battle is big, and I think Notre Dame wins that and wins the game 13-9. That's my prediction for the game, but my prediction for all of the viewers at home is that you're about to be very sad because this is the last time that Nick Waley takes the desk at Citrus TV. Nick, we thank you for everything you've done.
Oh,
yeah, Nick, guys. I mean, you've been instrumental to our careers and so many people's careers here at this station and several other stations on the Syracuse campus. We thank you so much for all the hard work you've put in and keep being you, man, because you've been fantastic in your entire career here.
Oh my God, guys. It's hard to believe. You know, I love this station. This show has meant everything to me. I love Cuse Countdown. This pairing has been so fun. It's been such an honor to work with you guys. I want to especially thank my family who are watching for everything that they've done for me. You know, This means a lot to me. Thank you to the producing crew. Thank you, CitrusTV. It has been an absolute pleasure. Enjoy Syracuse against Notre Dame. Goodbye, everyone.